I never thought betrayal would come to me dressed in a business suit. For years, I believed my wife, Claire, was the one person in the world who would never betray me. She had been my anchor through the roughest storms, the woman I built my dreams around, and the one I trusted with the deepest parts of myself. That trust was shattered on a rainy Thursday evening when I discovered a truth so devastating that it still echoes inside me like the hollow sound of an empty house. It started with something small a late night at work that didn't feel unusual at first. Claire had always been ambitious, dedicated, and willing to put in the extra hours. She often spoke about her boss, Mr. Donovan, with a mix of admiration and irritation. He was demanding, she said, a perfectionist who pushed everyone beyond their limits. I never thought much of it. Work talk was work talk. But then the mentions grew more frequent, more personal, laced with a subtle admiration that I didn't catch until much later. One night, she told me she had to stay late again. She kissed me lightly on the cheek, grabbed her briefcase, and left. But something in her eyes, some flicker of hesitation, set off a quiet alarm inside me. I told myself I was overthinking, that marriage sometimes means swallowing insecurities and trusting the person you love. That night, the house felt too big. I couldn't shake the unease. At 11:30 p.m., I called her. No answer. Midnight passed. Still nothing. By 12:45, I heard the crunch of tires on the driveway. Claire slipped inside, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. Late night? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She froze for just a moment too long before replying. Donovan had us working on a big presentation. It was brutal. Her words were smooth, practiced, but her eyes darted away from mine. Something inside me hardened. The days that followed blurred together in a haze of suspicion and denial. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. But the pieces stopped fitting. The unexplained texts, the sudden silences when I walked into the room, the way she smiled at her phone and quickly tucked it away. And then the moment of truth. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked. A part of me screamed not to. But another part, the part already bleeding, reached for it with trembling hands. The message was short, direct, brutal. Last night was incredible. Same time tomorrow. Signed, D. My stomach twisted. My vision blurred. The letters swam on the screen, but the meaning was clear. My wife, Claire, was sleeping with her boss. I dropped the phone as if it had burned me. Every memory we shared, every laugh, every whispered promise, suddenly felt like a lie stitched together with fragile threads. When she came out of the shower, towel wrapped around her, she smiled at me like nothing had happened. But I saw her differently now, not as my partner, but as a stranger who had taken a knife to the fabric of our marriage. Claire, I said quietly, my voice shaking, how long has it been going on? Her face went pale. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And in that silence, I had my answer. Claire didn't answer right away. She just stood there, her damp hair clinging to her face, eyes wide with a guilt she couldn't hide anymore. I watched her chest rise and fall as though every breath was a struggle. Say something, I demanded, though my voice cracked like glass. Finally, she whispered, I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed, though the sound was hollow and bitter. That's what everyone says, isn't it? You don't mean for it to happen, but it does. So tell me, Claire, how long? Weeks? Months? Or has this been going on since the first time you mentioned Donovan's name at dinner? Her lips trembled. 3 months. 3 months. 90 days. 1,000 lies. 3 months of coming home to me, kissing me goodnight, and whispering I love you after sharing herself with someone else. My legs suddenly felt weak, and I sat down on the edge of the bed, clutching my temples. My mind reeled with images I didn't want but couldn't stop her in his office late at night, her laughter spilling out in the dim glow of desk lamps, his hands where only mine should have been. I looked up at her again, and for a moment I almost didn't recognize her. She wasn't the woman I married, not anymore. She was someone I didn't know, someone capable of gutting me with her choices. Why him? I asked, almost to myself. Why Donovan? Her eyes filled with tears. He noticed me. He made me feel alive again. At work, he pushed me, challenged me. and I was weak. I thought it was just excitement, but it grew into something I couldn't stop. Alive, I hissed. And what was I? A corpse in your bed. The husband who supported you, who believed in you, who trusted you blindly. You didn't feel alive here, Claire. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed, but her tears didn't soften me. If anything, they hardened the fury clawing at my chest. For the next few days, the house became a battlefield of silence. We passed each other like ghosts, her guilt hovering in the air, my rage simmering beneath every breath. She tried to speak to me at night, but I turned away. I couldn't touch her. I couldn't even look at her without feeling poisoned. Then came her plea. One evening, she stood in the doorway of our bedroom, trembling. I ended it, she said softly. With Donovan, it's over. I met her gaze, searching for truth. Over a yes. I told him I couldn't do it anymore. That I love you and that I made the biggest mistake of my life. Please, please believe me. Her words were like salt in an open wound. You ended it because you got caught, I spat. Not because you suddenly remembered you had a husband at home. Don't twist this into redemption. Tears slid down her face, but I felt nothing but exhaustion. Every time she spoke, every time she tried to justify herself, I was dragged deeper into the abyss of betrayal. Days turned into weeks. Friends started noticing the distance between us. My mother asked if I was okay. I lied and said work was stressful. I couldn't bear to tell the truth yet because saying it aloud made it real, permanent. At night, I replayed everything, our wedding vows, the house we built together, the future we dreamed of. And then the thought of Donovan's hands on her would invade, and I'd feel sick all over again. One night, Claire tried again. She knelt beside me, desperation etched into her face. Please don't give up on us. We can go to therapy. We can rebuild. I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that I'm yours, only yours. I looked at her, my heart torn between the memories of who she used to be and the reality of who she had become. Claire, I said finally, you killed something between us. Something I can't bring back. You think therapy will erase the image of you with him. You think time will rewrite those 3 months into something else. No. The trust is gone. And without trust, what are we? Her sobs filled the room, but I felt nothing but emptiness. The next morning, I packed a bag. She clutched my arm, begging me to stay, but I pulled free. This house feels like a grave now, I told her, and I can't keep living among the ghosts of what we had. I walked out. The door closed behind me with a sound that felt final. And though leaving broke me in ways I didn't think possible, staying would have destroyed me even more.